Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a plant tour slash plant update video. Something a little bit different from my usual crochet slash yarn content, but nothing I haven't done on my channel before. If you have been here for a little while, you may have already seen some of my previous plant videos. If you haven't, please feel free to check them out if that's something you're interested in. But today I thought I would do a little plant update because it's been quite a while since the last time I came on here and showed you my plants. But I thought today I would do a little plant update because I posted maybe a few weeks ago, even maybe a month or two ago, on my Instagram about my plants. I think I got a new plant or something and I posted it. Anyway, a few of you were like, oh my God, you haven't done a plant update in so long. We need a video. So here I am. You ask and you shall receive. So yeah, today I'm just going to take you around my house and we're going to check out all my plants. I haven't really added any new plants since my last video. I think maybe two newbies. So this is really just like a progress video and to show you guys how my existing plants are going. So anyway, if that is something you are interested in, please just keep on watching. So first up, I thought I would start with one of, if not my favorite plant that I own currently. If you have watched any of my previous plant videos, you will know that I absolutely love a trailing slash climbing plant. And as you can see, this one definitely fits that description. It is absolutely stunning. This is a heartleaf philodendron, I believe it's called, and I apologize, I do not know the exact scientific name, but I know it as a heartleaf philodendron. Believe it or not, this plant actually was given to me as a cutting from my amazing friend Nat. You might know her as Rainbows by Moonlight on Instagram, formerly known as Little Cozy Things, of course. And she gave me this cutting, I don't know, probably maybe 2 years ago, and it is absolutely thriving. So thanks, Nat. Okay, moving on. This is my syngonium. I've had this for a really long time. I, again, don't know the exact scientific name, but this is a syngonium white butterfly, I believe. Also, I think known as an arrowhead plant, obviously because of the shape of the leaves. This is seriously the easiest plant to look after. I literally do nothing to it. I give it some water maybe once a month. I cannot describe how easy this plant is to look after, and it just grows and grows and grows. It's constantly putting out new leaves all year round. Like, I cannot say a bad thing about this plant. It's also really easy to propagate, which I'll show you in a moment. I have done recently. You just take cuttings from the node, as you can see in here, these little nodes, you cut below those, put them in water, roots will grow within probably a week if I'm honest, and then you can plant it in soil. So easy. And yeah, great if you want to propagate your plants. So that is the syngonium white butterfly. Next up, I have this spider plant, which was absolutely thriving about 6 months ago until frostbite got to it, because I did have it outside and the frost got to it and it just went completely brown. I did take a photo and I posted it on Instagram, so you may have already seen it, but I'll try and insert a photo here just to show you what it looked like. Thankfully, it is now recovering and it's got heaps of new growth coming through, which is really exciting, and even some little babies, which is nice because if you know plants, or if you know the spider plant, you will know that these can be propagated. So you cut them off once they're big enough and they will grow a whole new plant, which is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love, if you can't already tell, I love a plant that can be propagated because it's literally just an endless supply of plants. So what's not to love? But yeah, as I said, this was on death's door until maybe a couple of, maybe about 1 month ago, I want to say. And it is coming back to life, which is absolutely amazing. And I've moved it inside rather than having it outside because it just wasn't enjoying the cold out there because it is winter here in Australia. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. It's now spring, but it was winter just recently, so it has been really, really cold. Anyway, that is my spider plant. Next, I'm just going to quickly show you this. This is just a propagated syngonium, the one that I showed you earlier. Obviously, it looks exactly the same. And this was grown from a cutting that I took from my syngonium. And it's only been maybe a couple of months since I took the cutting and put it in water and then potted it. And it is going really well. It's always got new growth coming through. This leaf here just came through the other day, which is really good. And I can also see some fresh growth coming through down here. Sorry, my camera's not really focusing that well, but you get the idea. So that is a propagated syngonium white butterfly. Next up, I have these two cuttings in jars. Disregard the water, that needs to be changed, it's green. Don't let your water get like that. But anyway, this is a philodendron birkin that I had planted in a pot, and it was in my bedroom, and it just wasn't, I think because it being winter and everything, it just wasn't getting enough sunlight and it wasn't getting enough ventilation, I suppose, so it did end up getting root rot. So what I did was I took it out of the pot, I trimmed off all the rotted roots, and I put it in some water. Originally it was all just one plant, so I had the whole thing just in one jar of water, and the leaves were still dying off. So I then had to cut it right back down until it was just basically a node, and then I put it in water, and it's been in water for maybe a month now, and it's put out heaps of new growth, and it's pretty much ready for me to repot again, but I'm just waiting until it gets a little bit warmer until I do that. It's spring here now, so it should start warming up really soon, and then I can repot it without having to worry about it getting root rot again. But anyway, that is my philodendron birkin that I am trying to save, and it's going really well. Here we have my very sad looking peperomia plant. I don't know what to do with this plant, if I'm honest. Like, it's alive, it's not dead, it's got new growth coming out, but the new growth just doesn't seem to get any bigger. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to focus the camera, but it's so small. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's new growth here. There's like 3 tiny little leaves here that are coming through, but they've been that size for so long and they're not getting any bigger, so I just don't know what to do. I've taken it out of the pot to check the roots and everything. The roots are healthy, it's just not getting bigger. So I don't know if I've just got it in the wrong kind of lighting. I have moved it maybe a month or 2 ago to this position where it gets a lot more sunlight because it was in quite a dark area, just to see if it would perk up, but it's still kind of doing the same thing, so I'm not really sure. But if you guys have one of these plants and you know how to make it grow faster and bigger, please let me know. I'm open to all tips. Over here we have a couple of succulents. This one, believe it or not, is actually alive, even though it looks completely dried out and dead. I think I'm gonna have to try and trim it back, but every now and then it'll put out like fresh green leaves. I don't know if you can see here. Sorry, this camera's really struggling to focus today. So there's some green growth coming through here, so it's definitely alive, but it just doesn't seem to ever take off. Like it gets a green sprout and then it will just dry up and shrivel. So I don't know, maybe I'm not giving it enough water, but it's a succulent, so I don't want to overwater it. Not sure what's going on there. I don't even know what it's called. I was given this, so it's just a random succulent plant. Then I've got this little aloe vera plant, which was looking a little bit sad, but it seems to have perked up now. It's got a few dead pieces in there that I should probably trim away. But anyway, then I've got a little cutting that I just planted not too long ago, and this is from my spider plant. So this is hopefully going to grow into a new spider plant. Like I was saying earlier, you just cut the little babies off and then you can pot them and they'll grow into a whole new plant. So that's really cool. Here we have my peace lily. You would have seen this in my previous videos. I've had this peace lily for so long. They're so easy to look after. Like, all I do is water it. I do nothing else. It's pretty happy here. It's always putting out new growth. This was a flower that needs to be trimmed off because it's died off now, but it's always putting out new leaves. It's not super big for its age, I guess. It probably could be happier, but I mean, it's not dying and it's still putting out new growth, so I don't want to do anything too drastic because I don't want to jeopardize its health. But I mean, I'm happy with how it's going. I can't complain. It tells me when it's thirsty. Very dramatic. If you own a peace lily, you will know what I'm talking about. They are very, very dramatic, but I kind of like that. It lets me know what it wants. You know, I know exactly when I need to water it. So that is my peace lily. Here we have my newest addition, or one of my newest plants. Like I said before, I have added 2 new plants since my last video, and this is a ficus bambino. So it is a fiddle leaf fig, but it's a miniature one, which I didn't realize at the time when I was buying it. I thought it was going to grow into a big thing, but apparently this one will only get about 1 meter tall, which is still pretty big, I guess. But I was a little bit nervous when I bought this because I've heard such crazy things about fiddle leaf figs, about just them being really hard to look after and dropping leaves and not liking, you know, certain conditions and being really temperamental. So I'm pretty proud to say that it hasn't dropped any leaves since I've had it, and it has put out new growth. These 2 leaves only came through maybe a few weeks ago, so I am very pleased to see the new growth, obviously. And there's also another little stem down here, which I believe some new growth is coming through on. So that's very exciting. I'm very proud that I haven't killed it yet because, again, I've heard some crazy things about fiddle leaf figs, and apparently if they drop leaves at the bottom, those leaves will never grow back. So the growth only comes from the top. So if you lose these leaves down the bottom, this stem is then bare forever, which is very annoying because then you've just got this ugly naked stem with leaves at the top. But anyway, we're trying to avoid any leaves dropping ever, so fingers crossed. Here we have my parlor palm. You probably would have seen this in some of my previous videos. Look, it's not looking extremely happy, I must admit. I think it's a little bit too dry in here. Being winter and having the heater on and things, I think they do like a more humid environment, but hopefully now that it is warming up, it will kind of perk up a little bit. In saying that though, this stem here is brand new. Like, this has only unfurled within the last couple of months, so I can't really complain. It's obviously not too bad if it's still putting out new growth. I find this, I don't know if this is a fact, but I find them to be really slow growers. I've had this plant for years, like I'm talking like 5-6 years. This is the first plant I ever bought. Its name's Fern. I named it because it was my first plant. And I'm actually surprised that it's still going, to be honest. I mean, it's not the happiest looking parlor palm in the world, and it does grow really, really slow. I don't know if that's normal. So if you guys have any tips to make it grow faster, or if you think I should change where I've got it, yeah, let me know. I'm open to any suggestions or tips, because I've seen some of these and they're really, really big. So yeah, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not. Here we have another peace lily, but this is a variegated peace lily. I've had this one for quite a while as well. Again, really easy to look after. I feel like it maybe does need a little bit more sunlight than the regular peace lily, just because it is variegated. So I find if they don't get enough sun, they kind of lose their coloring a little bit. So as you can see, it's got some beautiful white patches on it, which I absolutely love. And these are all new leaves with those big white patches. So hopefully that means that it's liking where it is. But yeah, again, super easy to look after. It tells you exactly when it needs water. This little leaf probably needs to be trimmed off because it's looking a bit crispy. But yeah, that is a variegated peace lily. Next up, we have this area here, which is where most of my plants live. This is my Monstera, also known as fruit salad plant, I believe. And this thing was on, if you go back into my old videos, you'll see how small this used to be. This was on death's door. I had to save it from root rot. I made a lot of mistakes when I first started getting plants, so a lot of them did die from root rot, but luckily this one I was able to save, which I'm so happy about. But it's absolutely loving life. It's put out so many new leaves, and it has finally started putting out fenestrated, I think that's how you say it, fenestrated leaves, which means they've got these beautiful holes in them. So I cannot wait for the next leaf to come through, because I'm hoping it's even more holy than that, because obviously that's what everyone loves the Monstera for, their beautiful big holy leaves. But this one's going really well. Again, Monsteras are super duper easy to propagate. So for instance, again, you find that little node, which is like that little root that's kind of growing out of the side. And if I wanted to propagate this, I would just cut it here on an angle and pop that into some water, and eventually a root would grow out of here and you'd be able to repot it. But I'm not propagating mine anytime soon, because I just want it to grow as big as possible. I've seen some absolutely stunning Monsteras on Instagram, on Pinterest, and I just cannot wait for this one to get like that. Hopefully it does, but we'll see. And then moving over to my shelf, I've got a ZZ plant. I'm not sure of its exact scientific name. This I find to be so slow. This is such a slow growing plant. Like, I couldn't even tell you the last time it's put out any new growth. Like, it's been years, I reckon. I don't know, this plant grows so slow, but I think they're known for that. These plants are really good in low light. So if you've got a room, or, you know, if your house doesn't get much lighting, these are great options because they do really well in low light. I actually think I'm going to move this plant into my bedroom, because my bedroom doesn't get a lot of light. So I currently have no plants in there, which is really sad, because I love having plants in my bedroom. So I might give this one a go in there and see how it goes. Hopefully it goes better than the philodendron Birkin that got root rot in there. Next up we have my pilea. I believe it's called pilea. And this is one of my newest plants. I got this at the same time as I got the fiddle leaf fig, and it seems to be happy here. It has put out some new growth, as you can see there. I actually don't really know what the requirements for this plant are. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but it seems to be happy, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I think I've watered it once since I got it. Being winter, I'm trying really hard not to overwater anything, because I don't want to deal with any more root rot, but it is probably due for a water if I'm honest. But other than that, I've done nothing to it. It seems happy. So fingers crossed it continues to do well. Next up, we have my satin leaf pothos, which is a trailing plant. As you can see, it is like really long. Like, this vine goes all the way down the side of these shelves, all the way down to here. And it needs some water, because look at how curled up the leaves are. This poor thing, it's dehydrated, so I need to go give it some water after I finished filming this video. But it seems pretty happy as well. It's constantly putting out new leaves. Even throughout winter it put out new leaves, which I'm really happy about, because, you know, obviously some plants can stop growing, or their growth kind of gets stunted in the cooler months. So I'm pretty impressed with how this plant has gone throughout winter. So that is the satin leaf pothos. Next up we have my Tradescantia. That is what this one's called. I'm not exactly sure of the variety. When it gets good lighting, which it hasn't been getting at the moment, you can kind of tell here though, it gets like this purple tinge on the back of the leaf, so it's really, really pretty. It's kind of not that happy up in this area. I think it's kind of in the same boat as the fiddle leaf fig, where if the leaves from here drop off, then they don't grow back from up here. Although there is a little new sprout coming out from the soil there, which is exciting. But yeah, if you go down here, it's pretty happy, I guess. It's putting out new growth, so that's all I can really ask for. But hopefully once the weather starts getting a bit warmer, it'll start thriving a little bit more. But again, another trailing plant, which I absolutely love. And then up here we have my Rhipsalis. This plant I've had for so long. I think it's in one of my previous plant videos when I did a plant haul and I bought this plant, and it's just been like, it grows so slow, but I've literally just noticed as I've started filming this that it has put out quite a bit of new growth. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see, but like, see these little bits here? That's like new growth, which is really exciting. Maybe it's because it's starting to slowly warm up a little bit. So I will be interested to see how this goes in the warmer months. Hopefully we get some beautiful trailing, I don't even know what to call these things. It's not really a vine. I don't know. Hopefully it gets longer. That's all I can say. This is called, obviously, as I said, a Rhipsalis, but there are different varieties. I believe this is the fireworks variety. Obviously that's not its scientific name, but that's just what I know it as. And obviously it gets its name because this kind of looks like fireworks. So that's pretty cool. Next, we have my neon pothos, which is looking a little bit sad, if I'm honest. It looks like it needs some water, but this is my neon pothos, which I was also given as a cutting from my lovely friend Nat once again. And so it's the same age as my heartleaf philodendron, and look at the size difference. Like, this thing's tiny. I think I need to give this a bit more attention because it's looking a little sad. Down here we have just a normal devil's ivy pothos, whatever you want to call it. It's really happy, it's healthy, it's so easy to look after. Again, I barely do anything with it. I just water it every now and then when it's dry, and it's another plant that continues to put out new growth all year round, which is absolutely amazing. We love that. And again, so easy to propagate. I've propagated from this plant so many times. There's actually one down here which needs water, so don't judge please, but that was a cutting from this mother plant. And I've also got another one in my ensuite as well, which I probably won't bother showing you, to be honest. It's not that exciting, but yeah, if you're looking for a plant that is easy to propagate, devil's ivy pothos is for you. Okay, we're now in my main bathroom, and this is another ZZ plant. I was given this from a friend, like literally probably 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't know, a really long time. And like I was saying before about my other ZZ plant, they don't grow. Like there's no new growth ever, yet the roots are healthy and they're alive. So they're very, very slow growing. But this morning I was investigating and I did notice that there is a little new growth coming through on here, which is very exciting because I think this is the first time I've ever seen new growth on this plant. Obviously it's only one stem. I was giving it as kind of like a cutting, so it's always just looked like this. So I'm very excited that it's actually putting out new growth. So we'll see how it goes. I can keep you guys updated if you're interested. And then if we move over here, we've got my calathea, which a couple of years ago was on death's door. It had like one leaf left and the leaf was turning brown and I didn't know what to do. And I think I posted on Instagram, you know, asking for advice and things, and everyone was saying, oh, they're the worst to look after, like they just die at the drop of a hat. And I was like, nah, I'm determined, I'm gonna keep it alive, and I did. So I'm very, very proud of myself for reviving this thing. If you're wondering how I did it, I literally put it outside and not forgot about it, but I stopped giving it as much attention because I think my problem was overwatering. Like I said, I made a lot of mistakes when I first started my plant mum journey, and I was overwatering a lot of things. So I ended up just putting it outside under my little pergola area and it perked right back up. Now I just water it when it's dry. It's probably due for a little bit of water. Now, as you can see, the leaves are a little bit droopy, but you'll know once it needs water because the leaves will, number one, they'll droop, but they'll also curl. So usually once the leaves start to curl in, that's when I know, okay, she's due for some water. But I'm absolutely so happy that I was able to save this because it's absolutely beautiful. Like, these leaves are like velvet. Don't mind the dust, but these leaves are like so beautiful and velvety. I love it. Okay, so here I am in my filming room. So you guys may have seen some of these plants in the background of some of my videos already. This is a cutting that I took from my Tradescantia plant that I showed you guys earlier, and it is absolutely thriving in here. I only really just realized I haven't really been paying much attention because it's been winter and I've just not been really watering them or anything. So I haven't been paying them much attention, but I just realized, like, look how lush the end of this vine is. And it's putting out new growth, I can see there in the middle. So that's very cool. This has heaps of roots. I don't know if you can see in there, but there are so many roots, so I could definitely pot this now if I wanted to. It is definitely well and truly ready to go, but I kind of like it in that little jar. So we'll see what happens. I might repot it once it gets a little bit warmer. Then moving over here, I've just got this little pot with just a couple of random succulents in it. I'm actually not even sure what these succulents are called, if I'm honest, but there's that little type down the bottom, and then there's this one. For some reason, I want to say it's jade, but I can't be 100% sure, but I feel like it's called a jade plant. I'm not sure what this one is though. This is just like a little random succulent that I had a cutting of that I grew in there. And then this is another propagated pothos or devil's ivy from the mother plant that I showed you before. So as you can see, she is going really well, putting out new growth, which we love. But that's what I mean about the devil's ivy. So easy to propagate. So you can just have an unlimited supply of them for the rest of your life. And then over here we have my variegated devil's ivy or pothos. I feel like there's another name for it, but I can't think of it. I've gone blank. Oh, what's it called? I'm gonna have to Google it. One moment. Okay, so I just had to Google, and this is called the Snow Queen pothos, and obviously it gets its name from these beautiful white markings that it's got on its leaves. Absolutely stunning. And this was also a cutting from Nat. So Nat, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for supplying me with pretty much all of the plants I own. But this, again, like all the other pothos, are very easy to look after, easy to propagate. I haven't propagated from this one yet because I want it to get a little bit bigger, but I probably will eventually. So yeah, and this again has been putting out new growth pretty much all through winter. It's got a new leaf coming through there. So very cool. All right, last but not least, we have my snake plant. Now I wasn't going to bring you guys outside because I don't really have many plants out here, to be honest, but I thought I would just show you my snake plant because I think some of you will probably ask about it. I do have a video on my channel of how I saved this plant from root rot because, again, it was on death's door. But as you can see, it is very happy at the moment. I don't know what's going on here. It's got a little bit of leaning Tower of Pisa action, but it's solid, so I can't even straighten it up. So I'm just going to leave it like that. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this one's going. It's put out heaps of new growth and it's absolutely thriving. So I'm just going to let it be and let it do its thing because I don't want to risk having it die again because I really like this plant. Come say hi. Sit down. Say hello. Say hello. Hi, Charles. Hello. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this plant video, even though it's a little bit different to what I normally upload. If you do enjoy this kind of content, please let me know, or if you don't enjoy it, because I love to know what you guys want to see more of, obviously. And I know sometimes it is a little bit risky when you kind of stray from what your main content is. So I would love to know if you do enjoy this content. And as always, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so you will be notified of all my future videos. But until next time, guys, stay safe, be kind, and I will see you later. Bye.